Welcome to the DGTL Growth podcast, where marketing leaders turn playbooks into pipeline. I'm Suze Barnes. Today we are diving into content marketing with Craig Lucie, CEO of Lucie Content, 3-time Emmy winner, 13-time Telly winner, author of a children's book called Hold You, and starring in Inflatedance or Inflataman. Thanks for being on the show, Craig. I actually took a look and love those videos.
Well, thanks so much for having me, Suze. This will be a great conversation.
Yeah. I hope you'll get into the making the news piece. I'm sure you will.
Absolutely. And excuse me, I'm overcoming a cold that's been lingering for too long. So if I
Oh,
cough, I apologize.
I'm sorry to hear that. Hope that you recover from that very soon. Tell us about Lucie Content and what you do as CEO and leading your team and your vision for your company.
Absolutely. So I spent the majority of my career in newsrooms, started in Corpus Christi, Texas, when I graduated from SMU in 2004. And I was an anchor reporter there. And then I moved to Austin. I worked for the Fox news station there when I was doing a lot of political reporting and feature reporting. And then I went to Orlando and worked for the NBC station. I was there for about 4 years. And then I moved to Atlanta back in 2011 and was working for the ABC station and just saw an opportunity. There was a lot of big companies, nonprofits sending me as a journalist a lot of news releases, wonderful stories. It just wasn't something that we as a news organization were going to cover because we were so hard news focused. So that's when the idea was born. Our tagline is create your news. And so we, in essence, go and consult with companies on how to create content and leverage it. But creating news is really about creating content and optimizing it the right way, getting your name out there, constant content as well. And a lot of my colleagues are former newsies. We do have some folks who spent their time in marketing and communications. I always say they level us out because we as journalists we want to get to it fast. So it's been a great journey, 6+ years now, and been really fortunate to work with just a wide range of nonprofits and businesses, whether they're small businesses or even Fortune 500 companies. So we're very blessed in that respect.
Sounds wonderful. How many people do you have on your team?
We have 8 full-time and then a couple part-timers. And then, as you know, Suze, you get a project and you've got to either expand or deflate in ways. So we do have a strong army of freelancers that, in one case, we had a production that was involved 40 plus people. So we're not in a position to have 40 people on staff. And we reached out to a lot of different freelancers, and it's really awesome to be able to work with these freelancers because everybody has different skill sets. In that particular case, we needed like a crane camera operator, and we needed a lot more associate producers and photographers. But we have like I like to say in a lot of small businesses, a lean and mean team that cater to our full-time clients as well as the project ones. But as the projects come in, we're just lucky to have some wonderful freelancers who have worked with us since day one back in 2019.
Yeah, it definitely seems like that's the fashion these days with agencies, being able to expand as needed and staying nimble, keeping costs low too.
Absolutely.
Are there any strategic changes or innovations you're leading right now or seeing trends in content marketing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were really leaning into GEO, Generative Engine Optimization. It's
Yeah.
really different than what we've been doing since day one, which is creating content and leveraging it. So if you think about back in our news days, I as a reporter and anchor would go out in the field, identify a story. As soon as I started getting some great sound bites for that story, I was feeding it back to the news desk. And the digital team was then sending out push alerts through the app, sending out tweets, now X, Facebook postings as well to drive eyeballs to the newscast. More eyeballs on the newscast, better ratings, more advertising dollars. So when you think about generative engine optimization, which is just really an extension of SEO, search engine optimization. It's really just having that constant flow of content, making sure that it is optimized, as you know, Suze, the correct way, and putting it out there. And when you do a content campaign like this, and myself, actually did a video about it. My Google use has probably dropped off by 90%. I am turning to ChatGPT and Gemini, Google owned, but prompting at many different things. So when people are searching for a wealth advisor, well, you want to make sure that if you're searching for a wealth advisor here in Atlanta, that when someone says, find me the best wealth advisor in Atlanta, that you're being populated as the AI agents are scraping. And the only way to do that, as you know, is just creating constant content, putting the horizontal version on YouTube, cutting it up as well into YouTube shorts, making sure that the back end description's great, all the tags are in there correctly. That video needs to live on your website. And then all your other social media channels, LinkedIn, if you're, wealth managers aren't necessarily on Instagram, but if you're on Instagram, making sure that all of the content is talking to each other. So it is feeding these AI agents that are scraping the internet. And then also, I think we're seeing a resurgence in, traditional PR and earned media. And for those who are watching and don't know what earned media is, that's when I myself back in the day was covering your story. It wasn't a pay to play. I was just fascinated by your story and covering it. And so you can get that through podcasts like we're doing right now. Um, and someone, our paper here, the Atlanta Journal Constitution, it's great if you get into that, or your local business chronicle, because those hits, as AI is scraping the internet, give you a little bit more credibility, authenticity, authority, and it's going to populate those businesses first. So we've really been leaning into a GEO content strategy package. And I'll tell you that several meetings, every CEO, C suite I've talked to, they're like, yes, we definitely need to get this GEO plan going. Because for any business nonprofit, if you're not populating an AI this like today, you've got issues. You need to make changes and you need to continually push out content. It's not just creating the brand story and be like, yes, I've got our company story. Let me put it on our website. That's not the way it works. You got to keep that constant flow going.
Yes. I heard recently that Google is also starting to put ads in the generative answers. So
Yes.
we're going to see more of that. And what is your take on SEO then, if you're focused on geo?
Still very important. I mean, like I said earlier, I mean, GEO is just an extension of SEO. We do build websites here at Lucie Content, and it's so important. We're always just checking out our own website, luciecontent.com, to see how we're ranking, and the strategy of creating blogs and articles. And the beautiful thing now is you can use AI to find out what people are searching for on AI if they're looking for your particular business. Maybe you have a plumbing business, a roofing business, whatever it may be. You need to find out the simple, AEO, answer engine optimization terms that people are using into the search query of whatever AI that they're using, and making sure that you're pumping out blogs, articles. Of course, we always stress the importance of video, YouTube being the second most powerful engine behind Google. And we always say, look, Google owns YouTube. So when you are pushing out those shorts and regular videos on YouTube, Google automatically is going to populate you. And that's also going to help when people are using Google's own AI platform, Gemini. And so, I mean, I say we're in the early age of AI. I think we're like an AOL dial-up modem phase of this artificial intelligence, and every day more and more people are learning it and starts changing their work lives.
Are you seeing in your own search results the queries changing at all?
Yes, yes, I certainly am. And then what we do is we just push out another blog or article, and it's been working for us, which is great. I recently had someone call our office, and I picked it up, and they were looking for video testimonials. And I said, how did you hear about us? He said, well, I just put in video testimonials production Atlanta and ChatGPT, and y'all populated. We're the first to come up. I was like, beautiful. I said, "Are you using Google that much?" He's like, "Nah, man, I'm not using Google at all. I'm all ChatGPT now." And and so we will go into ChatGPT and ask it different things like video production agency, Atlanta, different service offerings, whether it's media or executive communications training. And I think that we're really starting to own like the media training, executive communications training, because we were buried down a little bit at first, but then we started finding out why are our competitors ranking higher than us. And I'll use our website too. We had content marketing all over it. We didn't really have video production. Well, we need more video production keywords on our website. So we would start populating when people are putting that in Google or in ChatGPT. And as soon as we started making those subtle changes on the website, we've had several more leads come in, and they're still coming in traditional way, Google, through our website, but the ChatGPT ones, we've had several of them. One person said, "Find me a production studio within a 5 mile radius of my business." We were the first to populate. But we're also creating sub pages. So there's Lucie Content, and then there's luciestudios.com. And that thing is just filled with videos, pictures, and all of the text so that we will populate.
Wonderful. Super interesting to learn that you're seeing many more customers coming in through ChatGPT and other engines. Do you think Google will eventually fall off, or are you optimistic that it'll
I
stay?
mean, there's no doubt that they are being hit with this. And
Hmm.
you look, I read today that OpenAI has surpassed SpaceX as the most valuable private company, and you've got Nvidia investing 100 billion in these other companies. So OpenAI is certainly right behind Google, but what Google has is just years and years worth of this data, and they are really working on Gemini. And I will use Gemini over ChatGPT for certain things. Um, and go a little bit deeper, I feel, deep learning on Gemini compared to ChatGPT. What was interesting is I'm in a fantasy football group, and we had a draft. There, one of the guys is like, "I know you guys are going to be using AI for your draft and figuring out which players to bench, which ones to pick up on the waiver wires." He goes, "I'm going to just do you all a favor. You need to use Gemini over ChatGPT, because Gemini is using Google's mass network of data, and whereas ChatGPT did that deal with Reddit, and so it's going to be scouring more Reddit, and there's going to be more valuable NFL content through Gemini." And so I use Gemini when I start looking to make moves on my fantasy football team.
Super interesting. I'd be curious to know how it turns out, whether that actually helped you.
It's been amazing. Look, I came
Yeah.
in dead last year. Right
Okay.
now, I'm trending toward the playoffs. It's still early, but I'll
Fantastic.
take a screen grab, and that's what's just amazing about AI. You can just take a screen grab and ask, "Hey, in this particular case, here's my starters. Here are my players that are on the bench. These are the players who are available. Who should I drop? Who do I need to start?" And they're like, it just says, given who you have on your team, you need to pick up this player and this player. And I guarantee you, I think this year, I bet only 10 to 20% of people are using AI in their fantasy football. Come the next football season, 2026, that number is easily going to be 50 to 70%. I just interviewed someone yesterday. We were creating a marketing video, um, because we're going to be presenting to a room full of wealth managers, because we do a fair amount of content marketing for that particular vertical. And I was speaking to several people. I'm like, "Are you finding yourself using ChatGPT more than Google these days?" And the guy's like, "Funny you should say that. My wife is actually training me on ChatGPT because she's on it all the time. And absolutely, I'm starting to make that shift of where I'm just searching for everything on ChatGPT since my wife's been teaching me over Google." So I think Google, and we made a video about this too, like Google search rankings are fading. Um, but look, Google's a beast. They're not gonna let OpenAI eat their lunch, and again,
Right.
they have so much data at their fingertips.
Yeah. What other innovations are you looking forward to besides winning the fantasy league?
Mhm. You know, have avoided fantasy football for years, and one of my buddies suckered me into it because it is a suck. So I reluctantly joined, and I'm like, "I'm gonna do this and come in last," which I did come in last, last year. Um, I've got a 10-year-old girl and a 6-year-old boy, and running this business, th you know, all and it's just there's really little time, even when I'm trying to figure out fantasy football, I'm like, "Why am I doing this?" Like,
Yeah.
I'm more present, but I'm normally doing it when everybody's down at bed and I'm staying up till 11 or something doing it. But to answer your question, are you asking, like, any other extracurricular activities I'm looking forward to or
Oh,
using
and
AI
I was specifically thinking innovations,
innovation?
along the
Yeah,
you mentioned AI being substantially better in a year.
yeah.
Um, Anything along those lines for business specifically?
Um, I think it's really fascinating to see what AI is doing right now as far as image and video generation.
Mhm. Yeah.
We use one platform that has made our lives easier. When if you take this podcast and you put it in that platform, it'll cut it up and give you shorts from that. So I just think it's going to as the days go on, more and more of these different AI platforms are being introduced. So I am excited about what could happen. Here in Atlanta, I think it's been a year or two, but you have Tyler Perry Studios, and Tyler Perry was going to be expanding his studios, which are south of Atlanta, massive, beautiful facility. He has a been over there, and he put a halt into expanding his studios because he had seen Sora and he was just blown away by what it could create as far as video generation and creating different scenes. So that's very exciting. It's also scary at the same time. As you know, in marketing and your background, it's always like every 6 months, something's new. You got to pivot, pivot, pivot. So what we started 6 years ago, while we still are staying true to our core, we are pivoting. I mean, people think that they can go and just create all their content with their iPhone. While that is true, you are losing some quality, and who knows what's going to happen with these iPhones that can shoot in 4K video. So, that's why we're leaning in more to the GEO strategy and consulting, the media executive comms training, because sometimes if it's good enough, it's good enough as far as content. Um, but I don't think what we're doing can be done with an iPhone. I mean, we're doing really, when you're sitting people down and you're extracting information from them and then crafting a story from that. And we always use, two key words. Like, we want to humanize your business by creating compelling content that resonates with your audience. AI can't do that, but AI is still, as everybody knows, it's a great co-pilot. It's great to lean on AI and maybe take your logged interviews, put that in and just try it out. Like, "Hey, develop a script. I wanna see what you can do." And then a lot of times it's not great, but what is great is you can write the script and take your log sound bites and then throw that in there and say, "Hey, check it for grammar," and maybe make some changes I didn't think about, and it'll do it, and normally that's pretty good. Um, so I mean, there's so many fun, cool things coming out in AI, but I do think, I've been in the crypto space. I feel like that we're in this like, you know, crypto phase in 2017 where you've got all of these different altcoins that are popping up and it's going to be the next one that goes to the moon. And then I'm seeing different AI platforms coming up, and this is gonna be the one. Like, I think you're gonna see the cream rise to the top, and then the others are just going to implode. I was reading today, and David Solomon was saying that I think that we're in for maybe an AI bubble, and Jeff Bezos has said the same thing. Like, are we in an AI bubble? But I don't know. You look at the growth that's happening in AI, and people are still figuring it out. Who knows? I'm not sure we're in a bubble right now. I think we've got more runway.
Yeah. Do you feel like content marketing agencies are ahead of the curve in usage of AI?
I do. I mean, because we have to, right? I mean, we have to be on the forefront of everything. Like, we are the experts. And so they lean on us.
Mhm.
despite what AI can do. And when I talked about, the iPhone and people getting accustomed to, well, if it's good enough, it's good enough. You still need someone. If you're like, my background is storytelling. If you don't have that background, or sitting someone down or conducting interviews, it's not easy. A lot of times we're talking to people and we got to coach them on the spot, like, hey, let's say that again, bring some more energy to it, you're talking too low, yada yada yada. um, I think that marketing agencies have to look. There's going to be some that survive and some that don't, but AI is changing the game, and it's there will be job loss, but there's also going to be jobs that are strengthened because of it. And I think that the agencies who are really leaning into AI will win out.
I agree. I think it's imperative today. What are your clients most interested in about your offering specifically?
You know what I think a lot of our clients like is, um, we had one client that had a different agency, and he said, "Look, I think that we've been paying them to cash our checks. Like, they were giving them big decks and these brand guidelines and all that stuff. At the end of the day, what these companies, they need to know who their audience is. We always kind of ask them three questions. What are you trying to say? Who are you trying to say it to? What do you want them to do? And so it varies by different sector. Let's use an example, senior assisted living, because we've been in that space for 6+ years now. And they had an agency and they said, look, we're going to try you out on one property. If you do well, it'll be worth it because we have many other properties. And in that particular, and it translates to every business, but in that business, we're targeting the adult child looking for a place for mom and dad. So how do you do that? Well, back to our core storytelling. You need to showcase the staff, the nursing staff, the administrators, the executive director, the activities director, the chef. You want to show the food because a lot of their days revolve around the food. Make sure that all the meals are healthy, showcase that. Well, what are mom and dad going to be doing during the day? Show all the activities, interview the activity director, and normally they're like a cheerleader. They've got more energy than you can imagine. And then what about the caretakers? Like, who's going to be taking care of mom and dad? And then you talk to the caretaker and they're like, yeah, I got into this business when I was a teenager because I was taking care of my grandmom or my granddad. And I loved it so much. I wanted to pay it forward and do it more. And like, this is my belonging. When the adult child sees that in a video, because this is a difference in video, is you can see how people are. There's an instant connection. People are consuming video 1,200 times more than text and still pictures. When they see and hear someone talking about how they're going to care for their parent, guess what happens? They're like, this is a perfect place for mom. We need to go and schedule a tour. And so that storytelling and content creation strategy has worked for them. And then when you attach that content to the SEO and the GEO with the AI now, this particular client was undiscoverable on Google. They were buried. You would put in senior assisted living Jacksonville and you could not find them. But it's also a very saturated market down in Florida, Jacksonville, Florida. So to beat that game, not many are making all these videos and doing the blogs and talking about why they have this activities director who has been doing this since they were a teenager, and they're using the keywords in there, and you're pumping up their Google reviews and optimizing their reviews and everything else. Now they're a top organic search result. We also complement that with sponsored ads and get some of those reviews pumping out, and they've gone from a facility was 60% full to now that's 100% full with the waiting list. If I could just tell all these senior assisted living places, let us come in and help you humanize your business, because at the end of the day, people want to hear from people, especially in that business.
The waiting list is the key word, magic word there, right? Having having pipeline.
Yes,
Um,
because as you know, it's sometimes marketing's hard to get a good ROI.
mhm.
But one marketing tactic that works in that case is we'll do mailers. And I was not exposed to the mailer world 6 years ago. I'm like, really? I get those things and throw them right in the trash. Well, if you target that neighborhood where the brand new independent living facility opened and you are in the market for that, You actually have to hold that. And for us marketers, there's a phone number. It's a call tracking number. So when they call it, they know, bam, that came from that mailer that Lucie created. We're like, yes, they got 75 leads from this.
Yeah, I mean, the call tracking is super cool these days to be able to see exactly how your marketing performs. Back to the video though, I think the storytelling is super important, obviously. Um, your background lends itself well to that because of your journalism experience, right? Do clients come to you for that experience? Do they appreciate that experience? Do they learn about you from your tagline, or what? How do they find you specifically?
Like many marketing agencies, we will uh, get some referrals, which is great. Um,
Hmm.
a sale, as the saying is, a sale is not something that you pursue. It's when you do such a great job that someone's selling for you. So that's
Hmm.
phenomenal when we have those referrals. If they are cold, they're normally exploring on our website. Fact, one of them said, "This makes complete sense after looking at your site and then hearing you speak that you used to be in news in your team, hearing them speak, being producers and whatnot." So, yes, I mean, we're not your traditional PR or marketing agency. We are very lean and mean we're trained to take highly complicated legal court cases that might be 1,000 pages long and condense it down to a minute 30 and tell it in a way where if mom and dad are in the kitchen, even if they're not watching, we want them to stop what they're doing to come and look at the story. So that translates well. And I think a lot of sometimes it takes us getting in the door with the client, maybe just one video, and they're like, "Ah, yeah, this makes complete sense." At first, we weren't quite sure. One thing that we call it as a content grab, and so if we see someone reaches out to us and they're interested in speaking, if we go to their website and there is no video content, and a content grab will say, "We're going to come in one day, we're going to interview the founder, your executives, your staff members, and then answer the three questions we talked about earlier." But from that one day, you've now got 3 to 4 months of content. Because when we're sitting down, different employees, they might say something that's, you know, very moving in a way about why they're in the space that they're in. That in itself can be a 45-second, as we call them, snackable or a vertical video for your social media you content for months. So I think that's what's been attractive to our clients is we are trying to be mindful of the budgeting and the production because it can get expensive when you're bringing in a DP, a director of photography, and another sound guy, and you've got all the production gear. By doing the content grab, it's like, look, let us just come in for a day. We'll drone your property if it's maybe it's a real estate development. We'll nail all that. We'll talk to you guys who are building it. We'll talk to the mayor in that town about what a job creator this development's going to be, and we can knock all that out in a day, and then bam, hand it off to you if you already have an in-house marketing team, and we stock their grocery store shelves, as we like to say. If they don't, then let us just put it to work. We'll optimize it, deploy all the content, and because one thing that kind of hurts that I see is we'll create content, hand it off to a client, and then they post it and there's no strategy behind it. Or they'll post like 3 videos in a row on their social media channel. And you're just like, no, please let us at least tell you what to do with this content so that you're getting the most bang for your buck. So I think that resonates with our clients. A lot of times it takes them a second for us, for them to understand it. But once we're in the door, they're like, aha, light bulb goes off.
Yeah, wonderful. Sounds like these lots of things are going well for you here. Do you have anything that's been frustrating or challenging in your business?
Yeah, I mean, sure. There's everything has its challenges. Some projects just get delayed. We
Mhm.
just one we thought that we were going to bring in this month, but not one, but many like, oh, you know what? They're not going to be ready to do the interviews. We need to push it, push it, push it. And so as you're trying to forecast for your business, you're counting on those dollars to come in. That's challenging. some things happen that are beyond our control. Like you might have, like we had a podcast planned today to be shot in here, and then they canceled, last night. It's like what, and then they might not come back. So you lose revenue that way. Um, so there, and then we've got a great team, but then you got to navigate like PTO and making sure that if that person is off, then we can't have these folks off just in case we have a crisis problem or someone needs something shot immediately. So those are kind of like daily challenges. Um, I would say, as we lean in really into this geo, people are like, "What in the heck is geo?" It's a challenge. It's business development's a challenge, right? Because it's all about, my old general manager at the TV station said this about sales. Three things is: do I like you? Do I trust you? Are you going to make or save me money? And so, as we know in business, it all revolves around relationships. And there's only so much time in the day to get out there and have coffee and have lunch. So it is challenging to do a lot of things over Zoom and not having that personal connection. In marketing in general, it's just a challenge. Pivoting all the time. When a guy in my entrepreneur group's like, "Yeah, I got out of marketing because it's a business that literally changes every 6 months." But I think a lot of businesses are like that. You're always having a pivot here, pivot there. So, I mean, you caught me on a day where I don't have a gazillion challenges. Uh, Mark, I would be like, "Suze, yes. Well, this just happened. This just happened." We were going after a very large, RFP, and literally 5 minutes before I came in to do this interview, we did not get it, and
Oh,
so that was a bummer, um, but, the only thing you can do in that case is just, "Hey, we put our best foot forward, we put all of our effort into it, and it wasn't meant to be. Everything happens for a reason." I'm a firm believer in that.
yeah. Where do you want to be with your company in 6 to 12 months?
6 to 12 months. I would really like to have a lot more clients that are jazzed up about the geo strategy. Uh, I also think that we have an opportunity to start consulting more companies because these companies, they might have that internal marketing team. And I think by us going in and using our background and showing them different content and communication strategies would be a great vertical to have us launch and up and running over the next 6 to 12 months. We do it a little bit, but not as much as I would like. And I think it would be a huge benefit to small, medium, and large businesses. Let us come in, look at your strategy right now, look at the content you are creating, and then give them advice. Good old consulting goes a long way. We've had consultants look at what we're doing too. I think they're very valuable. Um, so I would like to see that. We have a big production studio. I would love it if we had people in there, twice a day. Right now, we're still lucky. We still have a few a week. Um, but I would really like to see that grow. I think a lot of businesses are still holding on to their cash, included. It's a crazy world right now. We're talking the government shutdown. Who knows what's going to happen? So hopefully people will start opening up their wallets more. But for us, it's just keep grinding, working hard every day, and perfecting our team, right people in the right seats, and more. I would say for us, we want to do more business development, more speaking in front of people, would be a goal of ours.
Great. Who would be a dream client for you?
A dream client. I am fortunate to have a couple dream clients, but I don't,
A
I
new
don't.
dream client.
Yes, a dream client. We have had some dream clients. Too. I think a dream client for us would be, a client that really does not have much content strategy whatsoever. Because the biggest reward for us is seeing the transformational change in their business when they start pushing out content, and there's no shortage of them out there. Because anybody who's not pumping out videos or has a video on their website. And, it pains me when I get on and check out some of these companies' YouTube pages and it's like, we are plumbers 3562517, random. They haven't posted in 6 years. So in that respect, I think everybody's a dream client because we could truly transform their business. Money wise, yeah, everybody wants to get a whale. It
Mhm.
would be great to land a big whale here in the future. In the meantime, 99% of the businesses in the US are small. That we service a lot of small businesses. I can't say like a dream client would be this. Like,
Mhm.
would I
Yeah.
like to be the sole agency of Tesla or SpaceX, and all of Elon's companies? Of course, uh, because you can see just the trajectory. The guy's worth now $500 billion. Uh, yeah, Bezos. I would love to have a contract with Amazon and create all their content for their products. Uh, I don't know. There's a lot of dream clients out there.
Which metrics are you most focused on improving?
For us or our
Yeah,
client?
for your business.
For our business, um, metrics, I would say, I have our developer, if we want to talk like metrics analytics. I have a developer, right now working on our site for different things that I'm seeing people search on AI. And I can do some of that stuff. Our team can do some of that stuff. But to be honest, I want this developer. I don't want to bog down some of my team members and people who can develop. So I am having him really go deeper on the SEO geo strategy on our own website. So instead of getting a couple leads through chat and the rest of the AI platforms, we're pumping out, 10 a week. So for those conversion metrics through our website, those are the changes that we're making. Sales, if we want to talk sales metrics, uh, I I would love for us to send out at least 10 emails per week per person, reaching out for coffee, lunch, and establishing relationships with businesses and nonprofits and listening to them and then going back to them and showing them how we can help them. And then video wise, I myself, this business, we want to push out more videos. I just looked at my editor put a whole bunch in Slack that I watched like 7 of them and I was, yes, I'm looking forward to pumping those out on our social media channels. And Suze, a lot of them do. I think people are going to see these and be like, Craig needs to quit talking about GEO because a lot of them are about the importance of GEO. But we mix it up, talk about the earned media resurgence. So we practice what we preach. And those metrics, those are metrics that we need to hold ourselves accountable to because we're doing that for our clients. So we always say here, clients first, and then us. But that's a balancing act.
Do you listen to podcasts?
Do
You
I
have a
do listen?
favorite?
One of the first podcasts I started to listen to years ago was How I Built This,
Ah,
and
yes.
Guy Raz, great one. And now I just kind of explore. I will, of course, just see if what Joe Rogan has coming on, but they're frankly way too long. Uh, Huberman Lab is
Mhm.
great
Mm.
just to hear about different health topics. But I normally will gravitate when I'm on Spotify and listen to business podcast just because you can learn so much
Yeah,
and find
yeah.
different systems that people use. And that's why I find it valuable to be in this entrepreneur group that I'm in because we all, while our businesses are different, we all have similar challenges and figure out ways to work through them and can lean on each other and help each other out. It's like, hey, why don't you try this? So I strive to hear that kind of content and podcast. Um, and I will listen to yours more often, Suze, as well. I appreciate you having me on here.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Well, this has been super interesting, and I'm so grateful for your time here, Craig. Um, do you have anything you want to leave with our listeners? How to reach you? How to contact you?
Or I mean, you're all about helping marketing agencies grow. I always say we're not going to take over this world together. I partner up with marketing agencies all the time, sent out six-figure RFP lead that we were invited to participate in and looped in one of the marketing agencies that we have previously worked with. So everybody, as we talked about earlier, has different skill sets, and we want to stay in our different lanes. So these marketing agencies who are listening, as well as PR, I we do PR, but I don't want to do PR all the time because I was a journalist and I know how we operate, how we think, and I might say I'm going to do the story tomorrow, but if something breaks, I'm not doing it. So for me as a business owner, I don't like my success tied to whether or not a journalist is going to cover it. But there are some PR agencies out there that are phenomenal at PR, and I just had a call with one a week or two ago, and we're tackling some clients together. So the name of the game is just working together and being transparent. And that's what we try to be when we work with other agencies. Like, hey, it's been 3 months. I think this client's finally ready to go, but we need some help in these areas. Can you help us? And I think that's the beauty of the business that we're in. There's a lot of folks are willing to partner up, and I don't want them to look at us as a competitor. It's like, no, I mean, we can help you as a business. You might be able to help our business as well with your what you're doing. It's like I talked about earlier with our website and metrics. He's this developer. While we can do it, I don't want to bog my team down with that right now. I want you to do it, and so give him web work. So like he's working on our thing. So yeah, and close marketing agencies that are looking out, reach out. It's luciecontent.com. My email is craig@luciecontent.com. You can find me on LinkedIn and X and all the other platforms. So Suze, thank you so much. This has been a great opportunity, asked wonderful questions, and I feel like you've allowed me to sit here and plug our business. So I'm very appreciative of that.
Oh, you're most welcome. It's been a pleasure learning more about what you're up to, and I love the create your own news angle. It's super cool, and certainly the insights you shared here with video being a priority. Everybody should put video first, and GEO. Some people call it AEO and
Yeah.
LLMEO.
Answering
I
and
heard somebody,
optimization.
yeah, somebody recently I talked to on a podcast actually was like, I'm just calling it.
I like it. Yeah, because I mean, you say geo, and people are like, "What in the world are you talking about?"
Yeah, I know.
Generative
Yeah,
Engine Optimization. It is how
yeah.
you get discovered on AI.
Yeah, there's just so many acronyms too, right? People have to keep up with them. But yeah, I thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much, Suze. It's been a pleasure as well. I enjoyed this conversation with you.